Y'all want to see why Tasha Smith turned into Angela?
Marcus wants to get the hose. No, Marcus. Marcus, come back here.
Inspirational talk show host Kendra Brown is kind, and many worry about her mom, Meredith, who has cancer. Unfortunately, Meredith dies. 1 month later, Kendra takes a hiatus at a luxury spa so she can properly grieve and heal. Kendra's executive producer and best friend Natalie and Kendra's assistant Emma happily send her off, wishing her well. Because of the network policy that bodyguards should come on all foreign travels, she takes her bodyguard Charlie with her. Girl, that man fine. I'm pretty sure he want you. The morning after Kendra and Charlie arrive, Kendra spots a man named Malcolm Kirkland emerging from a hot tub, whom she finds very yummy. Kendra sees Malcolm again when he sits near their table at the spa's restaurant. The next day, Kendra goes on her self-guided tour around the grounds, with Charlie watching her meters behind. Suddenly, she is startled when Malcolm emerges from the bushes. They exchange names, and he says he knows who she is. Malcolm shares that he's a pharmacologist, and he goes there 3 months out of a year, collecting pine cone samples for his pharmacology. Is pharmacologist code for weed grower? He adds that for the rest of the year, he's back in Chicago working in the lab. When she says she's from Chicago too, he says he knows that because his wife, Yvette, who died from cancer, was a big fan. She shares that her mom died from cancer too a month ago, prompting him to share a Bible verse, saying it has helped him process his grief. Malcolm and Kendra walk together to the lookout point, and they marvel at the beauty of the lake. Malcolm invites her to have dinner with him, and she accepts. At dinner, Malcolm shares with Kendra that he and Yvette spent years working in medical labs, developing drugs. Her diagnosis prompted him to change his focus and look for a cure for her cancer instead, and Yvette helped work on it until she couldn't anymore. Sadly, by the time he and his team found a solution, it was already too late. After they learned that they both love mincemeat pie, Malcolm asked Kendra to spend the next day with him without Charlie breathing on them, and she agrees. Later that night, Kendra, who is completely smitten by Malcolm, thanks Meredith for sending him to her. Unbeknownst to Kendra, Malcolm has a collection of clippings of her articles and interviews. He used them to make it seem like they have so much in common so he can win her over. I knew not to trust this man the moment I saw his ugly nose. While Malcolm is busy making Kendra fall for him, Charlie is looking into Malcolm's background. However, all he can find online are articles of his brilliance in the medical field and his philanthropic contributions. Malcolm shares with Kendra that if his cancer drug hits the market, it'll make billions. But his modest millions have already allowed him to fund clinics and schools in Ghana, Zimbabwe, and Cameroon. That night, Kendra asked Charlie to be less strict with Malcolm because she hasn't found any red flags when she looked into him. She tells him that Malcolm thinks he's jealous, which Charlie corrects, saying he's cautious. He then reminds her to use the Krav Maga he taught her to protect herself. Shortly after, Malcolm tells Charlie that his intentions are clean. He then warns him about being overprotective to a fault. Malcolm got a face only a dog could love. Charlie contacts his private investigator, Ricky, whom he had asked to look into Malcolm. Ricky says Malcolm is a legit millionaire, but he needs a forensic accountant to see everything about his business. He adds that his wife did die of natural causes. When Ricky deduces that his suspicion might be because he has feelings for Kendra, Charlie admits to it, prompting Ricky to advise him to let it go and be happy for her. Malcolm confesses to Kendra that he has fallen in love with her and asks her to marry him on the spot. Kendra says yes, and they wed within the day. Marrying him without test driving the car ride is crazy. Kendra informs Charlie that she and Malcolm got married. Despite commenting that it's too fast, Charlie lets her gush over it and congratulates her and Malcolm. Malcolm brings Kendra to his and Yvette's house, and he informs her that Yvette inherited over 100 acres when her parents passed, so she came up to the country and built the house. Touring her around his and Yvette's home lab, Malcolm shares that his drug doesn't have a trade name yet, but its working name is Abani, which means we prayed, we received. When Malcolm receives news that an investor pulled out because he lost $100 million on Trump coin, Kendra proposes that he come to her show, since people will also be curious about her new whirlwind husband. Since he can't promote his drug on the show, he can just talk about miracle drugs in general. This would hopefully lead to people discovering his drug, create demand, and attract investors. The next morning,
I could wake up to this view every morning.
Girl, that man average looking at best. Then Kendra accidentally finds the folder that contains all the articles Malcolm had used to stalk her, so she questions his real intentions. He explains that he looked her up because Yvette was a fan and assures her that their connection is genuine. She admits to looking into him too, saying it's pretty normal when dating, and lets it go. Her name should be Gully because she's gullible AF. Ricky informs Charlie that he had looked into Yvette, and he discovered that she had suspiciously died from cancer quickly for someone who supposedly still had years. He adds that her death coincided with her money running out and warns Charlie that Kendra might be in danger. When Kendra returns to her show, Natalie tells her that she was unsure about her whirlwind romance at first, but Emma had convinced her to let it go since she thought it was romantic. After congratulating her, they meet Malcolm. Privately, Emma informs Malcolm that Natalie doesn't trust easily, so she made sure that she saw every good press she made about him. Malcolm thanks her and assures her that she'll be paid. Ricky shows Charlie the proof of what his forensic accountant found on Malcolm. He says Malcolm is broke, dusty, and is deep in debt, but he has done an excellent job at keeping it hidden in shell companies. He adds that Malcolm had used all of Yvette's inheritance for damage control, but it wasn't enough. Charlie deduces that Malcolm married Kendra for her money, but Ricky says that her money isn't enough to save him. When Charlie guesses that Malcolm is betting on his drug to sell big, Ricky says it will if it works, but it's not a good sign. While Kendra is making a fool of herself, announcing her marriage, Charlie confronts Malcolm, who denies everything. This confrontation prevents Malcolm from walking up to the set when Kendra calls him, so she shifts to another topic. During a short break, Kendra intervenes and firmly instructs Charlie to let Malcolm go on camera, so he backs off. Malcolm goes on stage and promotes his company so that investors can know about him. After the show, Natalie is not happy about this and side-eyes the alopecious man. Then Charlie informs Kendra that she's in danger and that Malcolm is broke. Showing the data, Charlie says Malcolm inherited the mansion he owns from Yvette. He's mortgaged the house too. His company raised over $400 million from wealthy people, which is now gone, and the SEC is investigating his financials. She says Malcolm has already told her that he has invested everything he has into finding a cure for cancer, so everything makes sense. Then he suspects the drug doesn't work, and she asks him if he has any proof that his drug won't work. When Charlie informs Kendra that Yvette suspiciously died a lot earlier than she should have, she just brushes this off as Yvette having advanced cancer. Thinking it's nonsense, Kendra ends the conversation and leaves. Emma, who had been eavesdropping, calls Malcolm to inform him that Charlie had hired a private investigator and had gotten dirt on him. She adds that he informed Kendra about all of it with proof, but she defended him. When she brings up his debt, Malcolm assures her that her checks will still clear. "Miss Emma, girl, he's scamming your ass too." Kendra arrives home and confronts Malcolm, who happily informs her that a lot of investors have reached out to him. Kendra confronts him, about to go full Angela Ghetto on him. He denies everything Charlie said, calling it a hit job to undermine their good press since the market is competitive. She apologizes and suggests opening up his finances and getting an outside lab to do its own independent drug test on his drug so they can have credible, unbiased results for his detractors. He acknowledges that it's a smart move, and they make up. The next morning, Malcolm gives Kendra a cup of hot tea, which she happily drinks. Alarmingly, while en route to the studio, Kendra gets dizzy, leading her to swerve to the side of the road and abruptly pull over to avoid crashing into an oncoming car. In the studio, Natalie grows increasingly worried because Kendra is not picking up her calls. When Charlie informs her about what Ricky discovered, she worries even more. A week, Kendra arrives and informs Natalie and Charlie about her near miss. When she says she hasn't received any calls from them, they check her phone and discover that their numbers are blocked. Emma arrives worried about Kendra. When Charlie asks what made her think something was wrong, Emma tearfully admits that Malcolm has been paying her to spy on Kendra. Emma details that Malcolm offered to pay off her student loans and give her 20 grand in cash 3 months ago, in exchange for her planting the idea of the resort trip and sending him everything she could to help him win her over. After researching him and not finding any red flags, she agreed, since she also wanted to see Kendra happy. But after she started, Malcolm blackmailed her into doing more. Emma informs the group that Malcolm had texted her asking if Kendra is in the studio and if she's alive since he spiked her drink. She didn't know what to do, so she responded that she is. Kendra is now realizing how foolish she was for being so desperate for average eggplant. Pulling herself together after Emma's shocking revelation, Kendra suggests that they should search Malcolm's lab to find evidence that he faked his drug results. To execute this, Emma suggests activating a GPS tracker on her as the decoy because Malcolm wants to tail Kendra and finish the job. This way, they can keep Malcolm away from the house while Charlie and Kendra search his lab. When Malcolm tails the tracker, he gets furious to discover that it's Emma, not Kendra. He then sees through his lab's CCTV footage connected to his phone that Kendra and Charlie have successfully entered his grass lab. Kendra finds Yvette's lab journals throughout the years of experiments. There, Yvette wrote that she caught Malcolm rigging results again, noting the good results, but discounting the side effects, including the fatal ones. After reading that Yvette feared that all of her work would be discredited, Kendra deduces that Yvette was the one making the scientific breakthroughs, and Malcolm was just a clout chaser and taking credit. In Yvette's last entry, she said that Malcolm is adamant that the compound is ready for the public, but if that happens, she's sure it would be tragic. She said she's no longer strong, but she needed to confront him. While looking for more concrete evidence to add to the journals, Kendra accidentally moves a microscope that opens a hidden room. There, they find more incriminating evidence on the tests that were done on patients. Malcolm appears and knocks Charlie out, prompting Kendra to fight using Krav Maga on his fugly nose. During the struggle, Charlie shoots Malcolm. While Charlie is assisting Kendra out of the house, Malcolm gets up and comes after them, prompting Charlie to give him a fatal shot. Shortly after, the police arrive. As Malcolm's widow, Kendra inherits the drug, and she makes sure that it gets developed. 9 months later, Yvette's drug has finally been transformed into a safe and effective treatment that has been saving a lot of people. And Kendra and Charlie begin a romantic relationship. To honor her mom, Kendra opens the Meredith Brown Community Medical Center. A good ending, but the movie mentioning Krav Maga every second pissed me off. I just know a Zionist produced this script. Tasha Smith did good for what Lifetime was asking, but Hollywood needs to hire her to do better projects. What did you guys think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. So, if you like to watch more foolishness, you can click here or here.